Welcome, everyone, to Pucks and Brews. I always forget the number of the episode when I do the intro, but it's good to be back. And for the first time in what seems to be like 8 episodes, I have a Dunkin' Cold Brew, an unsponsored Dunkin' Cold Brew, because why not? That's just basically my thing. And I also needed caffeine. Woj, you got anything for us?
No, I don't have anything else. I have to drive to Long Island like an hour. So
Woj is on a cleanse right now. I also don't have anything because I will be driving after this episode as well.
yeah, no DUIs here.
Yeah, no, we don't fuck around with that.
Well, I'm also getting White Castle after this, or at least my parents are bringing it home.
Jesus.
So the Cold Brew and the White Castle, that's going to be a party later.
You do not care about your prostate at all. That's terrible.
Well, no, that's why he's having the coffee beforehand. He's lubricating everything.
Every little bit helps.
This coffee is leaking all over the place. Thank God I have a bunch of extra
Something
napkins
else to leak later. I don't want to know. Let's move on.
Okay. This is episode 17, by the way. Grab a drink of choice. If it's not a brew, if it is a brew, well, just drink and have fun. Gentlemen, the Minnesota Wild have bought out Ryan Suter and Zach Parise, and the timing of this was more shocking than anything. What are your thoughts, Brendan?
I guess I'm not too shocked about Parise, only because it sounded like during the year they weren't really getting along too much, him and the coach and the management. I don't know. It seemed like, I don't know if you remember that whole incident that happened with him. Apparently he I can't remember who it was. He was trying to get them a hat trick on an empty net. And I don't know if they ended up tying the game after that. I can't remember which team it was against, but I do remember that. And then they ended up benching him the next game. But they ended up signing that contract a while back. And didn't they both have the same cap hit as well? They signed for the same term and the same cap hit, right?
Yeah, I remember hearing something the other day. It's like 2 players who signed the same exact deal on the same exact day got bought out on the same exact day. Pretty interesting.
Shades, what are with the buyout? How are they paying that? How much is it? I know I saw something with 6.8 million. Is that 6.8 million next season? And then it's broken down less than that over the next 7 or 8 years. Yeah, I know you know that.
To answer your question before I throw it to Woj, they actually get a pretty sizable drop this year with the cap hits, but the next 3 years after, it's scary. So this year, between the two of them, 4.7 or just over 4.7 million. Then
that's combined, right? That's not 4.7 each. That's combined, both of them.
Yeah, that's combined this year. Next year it jumps to just over 12.7, and then the 2 years following jumps to just over 14.7, and then the final 2 years it is 1.6 repeating. So
wow.
Yeah. Woj, what are your thoughts on this?
We thought the Girardi buyout was bad. Jesus. Sorry, Woj.
No, it's all right. So the numbers confused me. I don't know. I kind of blanked out because you kept saying a bunch of random ones. So I think they bought him out because either one, they'd make room for Eichel for the $10 million they'd bring on, or they're not in on Eichel. And I saw Fiala wants $8 or $9 million a year. And then so does, I think Kaprizov wants 10, but he only wants 3 years. So it's either, I guess, if they can get Eichel, then they'll do that deal. But if they don't, I guess they're just gonna go with Fiala and Kaprizov.
I just don't understand them going after Eichel because of what I said. The dead cap hit is gonna freaking soar over the next 3 years. It's just gonna hamstring them that much more. I mean, we all see what happened with the Rangers this season with the cap hits. Sorry, Woj, go ahead.
No, I was trying to think. I know they want. They really don't have a lot of young guys to trade up to give it to Buffalo. So I don't know exactly what their trade package would be. If it's that kid Rossi, I don't know. I thought he was out for almost half a year to a year with COVID symptoms or whatever. So I don't even know if Buffalo would want him. But yeah, I have no clue what they're doing. As for them getting both bought out, I mean, they get paid, a lot more now, or at least without having to play for the Wild, and they get to move on and go somewhere else and hopefully win a championship.
Yeah, Brendan, like you said before, I was more surprised that Suter got bought out as well. And the first thought that jumped into my head was, did he really just get bought out because he wasn't willing to waive his no move clause? What are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, Shades put me a little bit on the spot.
That's what I do. I'm a very random person. I just go, you talk.
So you're saying that you think the reason they bought him out is because he didn't want to waive the no move.
I've actually, I think that's my theory. Like, take it with a grain of salt. It's just a theory, but yeah. What do you think?
Well, that would make sense, I guess, if they're, they want to move on from him. And I don't know. I think this will be a test now for Guerin, right? He's the GM there, so we'll see what he's made of, I guess, at this point, because with that dead cap, it's going to be interesting. But I don't know if they're planning on maybe bringing somebody else in. I mean, that's going to be the interesting thing. I mean, we've already seen more buyouts happen. I mean, we saw, I don't know if it was official yet, or we saw just a report that Yandel was also bought out.
He was, yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's going to be it's going to be interesting to be more buyouts and maybe a good chance to pick up like a veteran defenseman.
Yeah.
Maybe that was, I don't know. Maybe that was their goal, to try to pick up another veteran for less of a hit. But then again, it's like in the long run, it's really less of a hit when you have that much dead cap.
Yeah, just
I know there's one thing. I know they were already going to. I knew what's his name, Parise, was going to be dealt with this offseason because they tried to trade him the Islanders earlier, but they just couldn't get it done. So I knew he was, and even Suter said he's like, I had no clue this was going to happen. I thought I was going to stay here. So as for that, Suter's going to end up somewhere, and Parise probably end up on the Islanders. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, just to close this out, their projected cap hit right now is 55.2. Woj, you said what? Fiala was asking for like 8-9, and Kaprizov was asking for like 9-10.
Yeah.
So just to do some quick math, let's just say for argument's sake, 18. That's going to be 73. Yeah, you definitely had to buy one of them out to make those two deals work, but they still have, let's see, 8 forwards, 4 defensemen signed with 2 goalies. So they need 6 other. That's without Fiala and Kaprizov signed. So let's just factor those 2 in. They still need to sign 3 forwards because you need a 13th forward, and 3 defensemen because you need a 7th defenseman. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Like that alone, I don't see them going after Eichel just doesn't make any sense to me. But the only thing that makes sense if they're actually going to go all in this year, because next year and 2 years following is just going to be impossible with how much dead cap they're going to have.
I mean, to be honest with you, they were kind of a shock, I feel like, for the majority of NHL fans that they were even decent this year. I mean, let's be honest. So maybe this was part of their plan already moving forward. They just didn't expect to be as good this year. So it looks a little bit more bizarre.
I mean, for the longest time, they've been like in a standstill. Like they couldn't get past Chicago and they're hot. They couldn't, it's kind of like the same thing with St. Louis. Like they weren't really going anywhere in the Central Division. So also to begin with, when they first signed those deals, I know they were nasty at that point, but I don't see, unless it's like Ovechkin or Crosby, I would never sign a player to more than 10 years, probably not even more than 8.
Yeah. I mean, they got to be the only other 2 people that I could think of that have been signed at the same time for like the same extension was Kane and Taves, right? I think they both signed the
Like
same
10
deals as well.
Yeah, 10.5 mil cap hit. Well, was it 6 years or 8 years?
I thought it was 10, but don't quote me on that.
No, 10.5 was the cap hit.
Gotcha. I thought the term was.
Kane was a rookie in 2010 when they won the cup, right? For his second year. So I think 7 or 8 years. I don't think it was 10.
Probably, but yeah. So
he still got like 2 years on his deal, I think.
Yeah. So unless like Minnesota decides to go all out this year, like they're in for a full-on rebuild. And I mean, they got a bunch of good young players. Like if you're not going to go for it this year and you're just going to say, fuck it, we're going to suck the next 4 years. What was the point of buying both of them out? Just my thoughts. So let's transition to, we got the, I was just about to say Vegas expansion draft because this is why I needed the caffeine. We got the Seattle expansion draft coming up, and it, like, as we're recording, it's Friday, July 16th. The expansion draft is the 21st. And like we were discussing this a little bit before we started recording about which team is going to be the most screwed and which team is basically going to get off the easiest, excluding Vegas because they're exempt. I had a whole discussion yesterday about, or excuse me, the day before, about why they shouldn't be, because they've been in the playoffs all 4 years, but I digress. Brendan, I'm just going to throw this straight to you. Which team do you think is the most screwed?
I don't know if I would say they're the most screwed, but I feel like in terms of, what quality of a player they're going to lose, I'd probably say maybe the Lightning. But I don't think they would be in that much of a bad shape. So I don't know if that answers the question fully, but I do think they're probably going to lose maybe one of the better players that they have, but I don't think it's going to put too much of a damage based off of the core of guys that they have. I honestly think that they'll be fine.
Yeah, the only thing with Tampa, they got to make other moves just to get under the cap. So that's going to be interesting with how that whole thing plays out. Woj, which team do you got?
It's tough because literally anything could happen with the next few days or up to the expansion draft. Or, with that being said, I agree with Brendan. I think Tampa really is. They might be screwed just because if they're now they have everybody back. They're 20 million over, 18 million, whatever it was. They're gonna lose Gaudreau. They're gonna lose at least a line and a half from free agency because they're going to sign everybody back, and they're getting Cooch back and everybody else. They're going to need to make a lot of moves. They're going to have some young guys come up through the system, but I think they're going to lose at least Gord. I want to say, what's his name? Cernak. I think he's available. They might lose him. I just think just because they have so many good players, that it's a lot more easier for them to lose them this draft because they're not protected by anything.
All right, Brendan, I'm going to answer this question like the opposite of your thought process about which team might lose the best player. I'm going to answer it in terms of which team is not going to lose a player that they need to get rid of for cap purposes. And my answer is Nashville, because they still have those Duchesne and Johansson contracts. And it's been public knowledge for a few years now that they want out of those contracts. They're definitely getting exposed, those two, but I just can't see Seattle biting unless Nashville throws I'm just going to, off the top of my head, a Pittsburgh-esque or a Florida-esque deal Seattle's way to be like, hey, we'll give you this if you take this guy.
Yeah, I mean, Shades, it's interesting. I think, especially with the cap not moving, you're going to see a lot of that. I feel like this expansion draft, you might see a lot of guys with bad deals get exposed. I mean, even most recently, we didn't even talk about it yet, but the Devils made the trade yesterday for Graves, and a lot of people are reporting now hey, they might expose Subban. But at this point, I don't even think Seattle would take him if he was available. I mean, he's making it's about a $6 million, even though this is the last year of the deal. It's like a $6 million cap hit for Subban. He's getting hurt. I don't know. I think you'll see a lot of contracts like that. And Shades, I actually want to bring up with the Lightning too. I mean, they're going to lose somebody. Honestly, I think it's going to be Johnson personally, which I don't know how much of a loss that really is for them. I mean, he was great for them in the playoff run, but I mean, they were trying to get rid of Tyler Johnson before the season. So I think it's a good chance he could go there. I mean, he's from there, not Seattle, but he's from Spokane, Washington. I think he played junior hockey there as well. I could see it being a fit for him. I mean, his cap hit is not that bad with the playoff experience that he has. And like, I mean, he, going back, maybe like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years ago. I mean, he was probably one of the best. He was basically like almost like Braden Point before Braden Point became Braden Point. So I don't know. I feel like they could take him, but that's just my opinion.
See, that's one of those picks where it's just like it looks a little too good to be true. Because I mean, dude, look at Tampa. Point, Stamkos, Cirelli. They don't need Johnson. Like they'd be doing. Jesus Christ, I forgot how to fucking talk. They'd be doing jumping jacks if the Seattle picked him. So I don't know. Like in that aspect, I don't think they're screwed in that aspect.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying with them. I think they have such a deep team anyway. Like they might lose one of the more higher quality players, but in the end, I don't think it's gonna have too much of an effect on them.
Their first line used to be fucking Stamkos, Johnson, and Corey Conacher. Once he went to like Ottawa, he was like a nobody. It's the same thing with Meskov. We got him and he had like 50 points one year.
Yeah, with
and
Tampa.
Now he's in Detroit.
Yeah, that's
anyone they plug in, they're gonna be good. But they want to get rid of Johnson for a while, and I think it makes sense. He's like a hometown kid. He's gonna end up in Seattle. Oh, it's also good for the team itself because it's like he's close. He's gonna do stuff with the community. He's gonna be. There's a bunch of whole other parts that go into it, but I think overall, I think he might end up there.
Well, Shades, I'll tell you one thing. I know one team that's not really going to affect much, and that's the Rangers.
Yeah, I was about to do a transition. I was about to do a smooth transition, and you kind of just like cut right in there. I'm like,
fuck me then.
I was literally gonna be like, so we talked about which team's in the worst shape, which team is in the best shape, except I would have said it better, but you kind of ruined my rhythm.
You would have said the exact same thing.
All right.
Yeah, just fucking kick me out of the call. Fuck me.
All right. You can go to hell. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, you basically just said it. Rangers might be the team who's in the best shape, like in terms of who's getting exposed compared to who might be taken. But like we said before, we were excluding Vegas. I kind of have to agree with you because I was looking through other teams. I'm just like, one top 6 forward there, one top 4 D man here. It's going to be very interesting, but I think I got to go Rangers now because who's the best player we're exposing at the moment? Colin Blackwell?
Hayek. Libor Hayek. No,
honestly,
you should become a comedian.
Personally, I think Gauthier. I think Gauthier is better than Howden.
What?
But Gauthier is a winger, so.
Fred Howden had an empty net goal last year. It was a long goal.
Howden
scored it one-handedly.
For me, Gauthier is bigger. He's bigger than Howden. He skates better. There's times where he actually like drives the net with the puck. I think there's potential there. I don't know.
I think Ron Francis drafted him when he's in Carolina. I don't know if one of us mentioned it like last time we recorded, but I'm pretty sure he was a part of it.
So Woj,
I'm going to Seattle. I would be.
Oh, sorry. I
mean,
was gonna throw a question to you. Who do you think is like which team's in the best shape?
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna say the same thing as you guys because I'm really not like giving up like a top 6 forward or a top 4 defenseman. All the young guys that are already protected before, so I think it's one of them.
I mean, Hayek is barely the top 6, so we might be in the best shape there. So I'm gonna transition this question to. Well, I mean, we basically
I need to take OTA.
Yeah, I was gonna transition to that. Which player do you think the Rangers specifically are gonna lose? As Woj takes a phone call, I'm gonna throw this to you, Brennan.
Personally, I think it's going to be either between Howden or Gauthier. I mean, obviously it's all based on at that point in the draft. It's like who have they taken? If haven't taken any defensemen, maybe they'll go for Hayek. But I don't know why I feel like Gauthier is going to go.
Yeah,
I just signed him for the attention of exposing him. Obviously, same thing with Howden. But I just think in terms of like depth depth players, I just feel like Gauthier makes the most sense. I didn't feel like we actually even got a chance to really even see how good he was, because it just seems like for some reason he was one of those guys that Quinn would never play.
Whoa, you got
I don't
something?
know. I mean, that's just my thought.
You got something?
Yeah, Chris Drury just called me. We just traded for Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
nah,
good.
Okay,
That's
you
pretty
guys
good.
can continue. I'll just jump in the next question.
No, not gonna lie, that was
Woj,
pretty good.
Woj, Shades was
Yeah,
asking us, which player do we think that the Rangers are going to lose in the draft, in the expansion draft?
Probably Gauthier.
Wow, fucking real original, dude.
Well, for me, it's gonna come down to
Well, they
I'm just
signed him.
kidding.
I
I'm
don't know
just
what the
fucking
deal.
with
So
you.
they signed him so you
Yeah,
could take. I
I'm
saw
just
something
fucking.
about they might trade him.
I'm just
I
fucking
don't
with
know. Who
you.
knows what happened?
no, in my opinion, it's gonna come down to between Gauthier and Blackwell, because like Hayek,
I don't know.
it just doesn't really make much sense for Seattle. I mean, there's probably going to be a ton of better defensemen available that they could choose from, even like a cap hit like Gardner or Shea from Carolina.
Shades,
Like,
but I think Blackwell has made a good case for himself.
no, that's why
Shades,
I said they're
you
going to
actually keep losing your internet connection.
really, because I'm getting the same thing with you. I'm getting the same
Interesting.
exact thing with you. Yeah, no, I'm fine. Like Woj hasn't, like his screen's been fine the entire time. It's just been you.
Woj, what about you? Have you been, has it been glitching for anybody or no? For you?
Shades. Just Shades.
I don't know. My connection's
I mean, now it's better. It's better now.
Yeah, no, it's good now.
my computer's in the same spot that it always is. I made sure the Wi-Fi connection was good. But to continue, yeah, no, it's gonna come down because like I think all three of us would agree that if Brett Howden gets taken, we'll be doing cartwheels.
Well, Shades, it's a good point that you bring up, though. I mean, Blackwell made a pretty good case for himself this season too. So there's a good chance that he also gets taken. But I'm just thinking of not that Blackwell's old. I just feel like I just
He's
feel
had
like
one good year. Like
I just feel like Gautier's younger. So I don't know, but I would not be shocked if Blackwell is taken. I mean, it would suck for us, but
Yeah, and yeah, because Howden just makes no sense for them. He stinks. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. He stinks. No, it's like Tortorella. Yeah, I put Hagelin on the power play. He stinks. Great freaking quote, by the way.
I don't know. Is D'Angelo also possibly? You might take him. Who knows?
No, because everybody knows that the Rangers are buying him out. So
yeah, exactly.
Fair point.
yeah, I wouldn't like. I don't think Seattle's GM is going to be that stupid. If they
Yeah,
are, I mean, that would be fantastic.
I mean, to be honest, Woj, too, it's like if you know for sure the Rangers are going to buy him out, it's like, why would you even take that contract on? You might as well just let them buy him out first, then sign him.
Yeah.
I mean, they could technically sign him as a free agent.
Yeah.
Right, Shades? I mean, that's
Yep.
a possibility.
Yep. And
But
I'm pretty sure that all the players bought out can actually like start talking to other teams right now. It's either it's either now or it starts on the 18th. I heard something.
Technically, they're blank, like they can sign for whatever at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were just talking about it before. I mean, me and Woj were talking about it in text yesterday, but we were like, we could see Yandel signing with the Bruins, or we could see him signing with the Flyers as a possible. I don't know. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'd say one last thing about the whoever we lose. I think it's gonna be Gauthier just because there's more potential and he's younger. Blackwell, I mean, he's had one solid year. Other than that, he's been up and down the AHL, and he is like 28, 29 or something like that. So, and you really can't go for. I mean, he's had experience. I think he'd just be better off going with Gauthier. I think it's less of a stressful pick. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So,
all right, I'm just gonna be devil's advocate because. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say that Seattle's going to choose Blackwell just to be devil's advocate because I don't want all three of us to agree. We do that far too often.
I mean,
smart men.
I also,
Long
like I
for us.
said earlier, Shades, I mean, the pick would make sense based off of the previous season that he had. I mean, he shows that he can be I mean, I don't think he's a top 6 guy, but I think he would be a solid bottom 6 forward for Seattle if they decided to go with him. So I wouldn't be shocked. But I also say, like what was just saying, I just think that there might be a little more upside with Gauthier. He's a little bit bigger. I don't think he's a better skater than Blackwell, but I don't know. I think you might need somebody that can. That's the one thing I like about Gauthier personally. I just think that if he can expand on like getting those driving to the net down and get stronger on the puck, like he could probably be a pretty good player.
All right. Let's end it on this. This is going back to something that you said earlier, Brendan, about Quinn not wanting to play Gauthier. Towards the end of the season, I mean, like, you weren't playing him over Buchnevich. You weren't playing him over Kravtsov. You were maybe, depending on how he was playing that game, playing him over Kako. So, like, he was basically glued to the bottom 6 no matter what. And we also had Blackwell, who was, he was producing, so you couldn't take him out of the lineup. He was basically kind of screwed.
Yeah, for sure.
To no fault of his own, though. I mean, like, Blackwell had an opportunity. He took advantage of it. Gauthier had some opportunities, didn't really take advantage of it. So,
yeah, I mean, I think most fans could probably agree. I mean, even Brett Howden was just kind of just like whatever. Like the only thing that was really saving him was penalty killing, and the fact that he was a center really saved him ultimately at the end of the day.
And the fact that they literally just did not have anybody else. That's
And
the scary part.
I think one thing too about Howden now, like I guess another reason why they kept playing him is because they wanted to see how well that McDonough-Miller trade could work out. Because I mean, they got Lundqvist in that trade, so I think from that pick.
Yeah.
So if you traded away McDonough, who's still doing everything now at this point, and you traded Miller, who's done pretty well on both teams he's been on, you kind of want to keep playing Howden as much as possible to see what he can do if it worked out. But obviously, it did not.
Yeah.
Well, Miller on Tampa, that's arguable, but he played a lot better in Vancouver.
That is true.
I mean, ultimately, if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning, I mean, even if Lundqvist becomes a superstar, it's like you don't care. Like Ryan McDonough was a huge part of you winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. So ultimately, it doesn't matter really what Lundqvist becomes. They won that trade, in my opinion.
And they got him for a first-round pick too, so that kind of helps later on.
Here's the only thing that like keeps saying like in my head that I keep going back to about Tampa Bay slam dunk won that trade. You got to remember, like McDonough's playing behind Hedman. When he was on the Rangers, he was the number one guy.
Oh yeah, he's not. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is
like I'm just gonna put this nugget out there. If he was the number one guy in Tampa, do you think he would have played as well as he did this postseason?
No,
absolutely not. I mean, he gets to be like play his own game there. Like he doesn't have to worry about being the number one defenseman. I mean, Hedman, I would even say maybe some people would put Sergachev over him. Maybe not after the way he played. I mean, the way McDonough played this postseason. But I mean, there's other really good defensemen on that team, and Ryan McDonough just got to play his own game without the pressure of playing for the Rangers, basically.
I just wanted to put that out there to possibly stir some shit.
That just goes to show you how ridiculous Tampa is. It's like, Ryan McDonough's playing at that level, and he's not even their best defenseman. So that's just ridiculous.
And one little last thing about that. They're like, we've heard the speculation like a lot now of like they wouldn't mind getting rid of him. It's like if he's that important to your team, why would you be in such a rush to get rid of him?
Tampa getting rid of McDonough? I've never heard of that before.
Dude, they got to get under the cap. They got to trade some. Like they need to get rid of multiple players.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't be shocked to see them get rid of somebody and then just try to re-sign somebody like Yandel for like barely anything. I mean, if you're Yandel, like, and you just got bought out, you're already getting paid. It's the same situation as Shattenkirk, in my opinion. I would not be surprised if Yandel were to sign with Tampa Bay if they can make it happen with the cap. I would not be shocked to see that, to be honest. Would you? Because I wouldn't be.
No, it doesn't have to move far, and he's probably playing the same role as Shattenkirk did when he went there. Real quick, the Islanders traded Nick Leddy to Detroit for Richard Panik, and a second-round pick in 2021.
Interesting.
Wow.
Just soon as you started saying that, I got a text Letty to Detroit.
Breaking
As
news.
soon as you started saying that.
He probably requested the trade. He probably wants to play with Mark Stahl, obviously.
I mean, Mark Stahl is the GOAT.
Jaden, we brought that up earlier. I mean, you
Oh, yeah.
called.
I will end it on this. I got a picture of Mark Stahl and I took a video. I literally called him the GOAT to his face. And in his head, he was probably thinking this kid's a fucking moron.
Fuck this kid.
Hey, I still said it to his face. I'm proud of myself. So.
Oh, yeah. And we didn't even say Tampa Bay won the Stanley Cup, Shades. You didn't know. If you didn't know.
I ran into Jared Leto the other day at the feast. I think it was him. Not sure. Continue.
Well, I mean, didn't we just record an entire episode where we talked about that? No.
Jared Leto just called him, you fucking vegan.
Oh, no. Say that to him? Oh, yeah. Tampa Bay won the Stanley Cup. Woohoo. Nobody cares because they played Montreal. Okay.
I do. Go Bolts.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for watching or listening to episode 17 of Pucks and Brews. Follow us on our socials down below. We'll be back very, very soon because the expansion draft is in 5 days from our current recording. And, yeah. Drink some brews. Drink some alcohol. Get ready for a wild 8 days. Expansion draft, entry draft, and free agency. We'll be back soon. And we may have a surprise or two up our sleeve. Take care.